glad to see you here and get to finish up working on the pages of this album. So I've gotten some of the things ready, so it won't take quite as long, but we're going to go ahead and get putting our pages and everything in. There is one page, this one here, that, you know, I was cutting my papers and everything for it, and I just started putting it in. So I'll give you the measurements as we go along. And I'm so sorry. I just all of a sudden laid the last piece down, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even wait till I got onto camera. So we're going to go back and finish that up. Meanwhile, I wanted to show you, I took a piece of the 6x6 and I pieced it together so that I could put it on here. So it makes a nice frame for a picture, or can do a picture on the back, and that just goes underneath here. And then I put a photo frame on here, and I'm going to put down some white paper. There is also a room here for a tag. I'm not going to be able to do a G45 tag. It's just a little bit too tight, so I'd rather make it a little bit more narrow. So I'm going to do that when I'm finishing things up. Same thing as over here. I'll put the tabs on that, and you know we put our magnets underneath here, and this is all set to go as well. So when we go to this side of the album, what I have for over here is we are going to, these are going to be booklets that will be in pockets going down here. I didn't put any paper in the inside. I'm going to also see what I've got left, you know, when I've got everything else done. So for now, what I want to do is take this pattern paper, and we're going to put that down. And then once we've got that down, then I'm going to glue the pocket down, and I will talk a little bit about how we're doing that. So for this page, the pocket is cut at 9 inches. Oh no, 9 1/8, and then you're going to score a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch along there. And then I also scored down the middle of the pocket, and that's where I'm actually going to be putting some glue so that I get actual pockets. And I can do one of two things. I can put these into the pocket separately, or I can put them in like this so that they sit up a little bit higher. But I know for sure I'm going to have to put some paper on the back of here if I'm going to do that. So then what I also did, and again this is in the middle, so I ended up cutting paper that I can put to make it look like pockets. And this is 4 by 3 and 5, no, 3 and 7/8. 4 by 3 and 7/8. 4 by 3 and 7/8. And I think that's because the 4 inches is because this going across was 8 and 1/8, or going up and down maybe was, otherwise I need to cut a little bit off. Let me just see. Yeah, boy. I might have just fallen asleep. So you've got the measurements on this, and I'm going to go back and trim these off a little bit. So for these, this should be 3 and 7/8 by 3 and 7/8. Same thing, 3 and 7/8 by 3 and 7/8, and they'll fit on the pocket. And let's just go ahead and put that all together, and I will speed this up a little bit. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I'm coming back in here and I realize I failed to give you the measurements for these. And these are 4 by, I believe this is 12. Yeah, so it is 4 by 12. And you can easily get the 2 of them out of one piece of 12 by 12. Yeah, I think my glue spread too far. I might have to fix these and just cut them down just a little bit. I didn't realize that my glue would spread. Well, there you go, that one works. If I get it in there like that. Yeah, maybe it's just on this side. It spread a little bit too far. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to fix that. Probably going down the middle, I will fix it as just tightening up that glue. Let me just see if I can, I want to try one more thing to see if I can get that in here. And no, I can't. So I will put that off to the side for now, or right in there, right in here for now. So the next thing is we have our next page on here, and this one has got a few more items to it. And basically what is happening is that it's going to be a gatefold. So this is going to fit right onto this page, and we'll have the doors that open here. So what I did is I cut a piece of the pattern paper, the designer paper, and this is cut at 8 1/8 by 8 1/8. And then the doors on this, what I do to make this so that this comes together nicely is I take a piece of cardstock and I cut it at, going across this way, 9 1/8 and 8 1/8. And the 9 1/8 is because I do hinges in the back, and I do it right on top of the paper, and I dry fit it, and if I need to make any changes to it, I still have time to do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get this down first, and then what I would like to do is to determine where our magnets are going to go on here so we don't forget that. So let me get this on, and I'll show you the rest of what we're going to do. So let me show you what else measurements we have. So each one of these are going to be going on the flaps, and each one of these measure just under 4 inches, so 3 7/8 by 8 or 8 1/8. I would go to 8 1/8 and then test it on your pages, and then if it's too long, you just have 1/8 of an inch to cut off. So for this, I do the same thing. I would cut this at 3 7/8 because it's got to be a little smaller than this 4-inch one. And on this side, you're also going to do this at 3 7/8 by 8. And that'll work for both. Both of these are going on here. One set's going on the front, one set's going on the back. Then for this, for the back, I am going to put my pockets down inside the back. And we'll also put the magnet on here. So both of these pockets, the measurements for them are going across. It is 4 7/8 by 4 inches. So then you're going to what I gave you was 4 7/8. So really this was 3 7/8 is what I wanted of the pocket. But I have a 1/2 inch for this hinge and a 1/2 inch for this hinge, and then a 1/2 inch down here. And then I go on my pockets to miter those. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put the papers down, and then I'm going to get this ready before the papers go down though. What I have is I have one of the cards, and remember how we talked about I wanted to put magnets on it? So I'm going to put magnets on this, and this is going to go across my paper. So what I want to do first of all is to put my magnets down here and then match the magnets that are down here onto this card and glue them onto the card, and then I'll back it with this black. So these cards are 4 by 6. So I cut the black mat at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and that'll give me a nice round, a nice black around it. I also went and punched on a medium punch the corners so that it would match up with the corners on this card. So I'm going to get this down first, and then we will get the magnets on, and then we will go ahead and get the rest of it put on. And I'm going to speed it up a little bit. It's not going to be too fast, but it will be fast enough so that you don't have to listen to me talk too much. Okay, folks, this is where we've got this page done, and this stays on there. We've got this opened up. I forgot to cut the patterned paper for that, but that's okay. I'll take care of that when I'm finishing the rest of everything off. I use small magnets on this page, and it's totally up to you whether you want to use small or large. For some reason I only had 2 of the large magnets out here, so I just decided to go with the small ones, and they're seeming to hold fine, but I wouldn't want to put a lot under here because of them going through that cardstock. So that's just a suggestion. And so the next page that we are going to do was this page, and I put it together without even thinking. I'm so sorry. Basically what I did with this page is I took and made a horizontal pocket here, and this pocket was made at 8 1/4, but really I did it as 9 1/4 because there is I ended up taking, oh see, look at that, that's coming off. Might have to see about another way of doing that. But so this was 8 1/8, but it's actually 9 1/8 because you're going to score it a 1/2 inch, score it a 1/2 inch, and wrap the hinges around. I did not gusset the bottom this time because I wanted to keep this a little bit tighter because I didn't want the items flapping around too much in there. So this pattern paper, or the width of the pocket was 3 3/4, and so then the paper, designer paper on here, was 8 by 3 5/8. So that was that. And then I was trying to use up some of my other pieces. So this, I did this one at 4 inches, and this is by 8 inches. And then this one was 3/4 of an inch by 8 inches. And you know, you can do that, or you can measure them out to whatever you have left over and what you can use. So we essentially have just the back of the book to do, and decorating, finishing decorating some of the other pieces. And we'll go ahead and, like I said, I will do the major finishing off on my own because it takes me a while to do that, just to think. And what I do is I go from one page to another page to back to another page. So it's not as clear what I'm doing for somebody when they're watching me. So let's just finish this off. This shouldn't take too long. And what I did with this is I took pieces of the pattern paper for the top and the bottom, and I'm going to make these this waterfall, or vertical waterfall, and I am just going to put that across the middle of the page, and we're going to put these down to cover the open areas. I know I used this check pattern a lot in this album. I really liked it though. It was one of those. The really nice thing is that sometimes with patterns you put on things and they're directional when your cutoffs are, and you know, you had to cut it that way because of where you were putting the piece originally, but then when it comes to putting it in for other cutoffs, the pattern doesn't go the right way, so that's kind of disappointing. So we did this waterfall previously, and so now all I have to do is put it down. I did add one more flap to this. I added this flap, and then I added this card. No, actually this is paper, just down on the back of that waterfall. And we are actually going to put this down so it goes straight down the middle. And the one thing that I'm going to do is I have not done my hitch for here. So when I put this down, I'm going to make sure that I'm only going to put this much glue on this side so that I have a place to tuck my, not my strap, but you know, for keeping it down. Because I'm not putting magnets on this except for the fact of the strap that's going to be going down on it. And I will show you that in the walkthrough, or you probably have already seen the walkthrough, because I will put the walkthrough out before the tutorials come out. There we go. And the only place that we're gluing it is on the ends there, because we are leaving this open for a tag. So we can either put this in, I think I can put it in vertical or horizontal. Getting caught. That can go down right down into there. I wonder if I can do it that way. Yeah, I can. Or I can do it just like this and just not put it all the way through. And then I'm going to put a latch right onto there. But otherwise, this page is done too. Each of these strips were, I think they were about 2.5 inches, each of them, just because I wanted them to go a little bit further under. And the lengthwise was on the cover was 8 and, the cover was 8.5. So it would be 8 3/8 for the length of all of that. So I've got some tags I need to put in. There's some paper from cutoffs that I need to put in. But basically that is our album done. And I just need to finish the covers and the spine and then those other internal areas. So I thank you so much for staying with me for this tutorial, and be sure to, again, I'll just remind you to be sure to watch everything before you start working on your own book. And if you have any questions, just leave your questions down below. I'd be more than happy to help you with anything. And I just can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you staying with me, watching, and crafting along. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. Bye.